thing that people are often really interested in is intentionality in communication. Because one of the key features of language is that it's intentional, where we're not just communicating out of a sort of emotional outburst, but rather we are intending to inform the individual that we're communicating with, which implies we have some understanding of what they know and what they don't know. And there's evidence for that in elephants. So, for example, when elephants are communicating like with gestures, they tend to use gestures to combine with a vocalization if the individual that they're trying to communicate with can't see them. But if the individual is facing them, then they'll often just use a gesture with no sound. So it implies some understanding of what other individuals can see,
right,
and therefore whether they're likely to react to a particular signal, because if it's a purely visual signal, they can't see you.
It implies that they have ability to model another individual's mind in some sense.
Yeah, exactly. And so on the topic of self-awareness in elephants, so this is kind of, that thing with the gestures kind of implies an awareness of what other individuals can see, but there's also some evidence that elephants may be aware of themselves. And this is, I say some evidence because it just hasn't been done with very many individuals. And but the classic test for self-awareness in animals is the mirror mark test, right? Where an animal, you put a mark on a part of the animal's body they couldn't see without the aid of a mirror, and then if they touch that mark more in the presence of a mirror than in its absence, then that implies that they can recognize their reflection, which may mean that they're self-aware. So that study has been done with a few Asian elephants, and one of the Asian elephants convincingly passed the test. Like, it was, if you watch, the videos are available on the internet. If you watch those videos, I think it was Happy at the Bronx Zoo. Like, she was very clearly responding more to the mark in the presence of the mirror. The other elephants that where that test was done with failed the test. But the problem with the mirror mark test is there's a lot of false negatives. So just because the animal doesn't touch the mark doesn't mean they don't recognize their reflection. They may just not care about it, especially with elephants, because they're always covering themselves in dirt and debris. So like, why would they care about a mark on their face, right? So the fact that at least one elephant passed that test, I think, is highly suggestive evidence that at least Asian elephants are probably self-aware.
Wow. What about one thing I wanted to ask you about on the vocalization side of it? So you were looking at whether or not, they were naming each other in essence. Is there any indication? So you've studied them a lot. You've been with the same group of elephants a lot, I would presume, and you said they were very well habituated to humans. Is there any indication that, when you guys show up, they're like, oh, hey, Michael and the crew are here?
I never saw anything that to me was obvious, like they were reacting to our presence, which is a good thing. We don't really want them to be disturbed by our presence. But yeah, I mean, there's so many rumbles that they make. We have no idea what those rumbles are about. It's possible that some of it was related to us, but hopefully not too much of it.
So I would imagine it. So you guys are playing it low key on purpose so that you are disturbing them as little as possible and therefore seeing natural behavior.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.